A weird victory for the Philadelphia Eagles, where we saw them start off really dominant, even scoring the first quarter for the first time all season long. Despite them racing out to a 22-0 lead, they somehow allowed that to be kind of a nail-biting game where it took a Nakobe Dean interception to seal it and allow them to escape with a 28-23 victory. Firstly, Saquon Barkley is utterly amazing, catching a pass from Jalen Hurts, spinning away from the defender, but then hurtling backwards over the defender for a first down. That's probably the most unorthodox, wackiest, wild plays that I've ever seen, and I think I've watched it about 50 times since that aired. He is just behind in terms of yards per game behind Derrick Henry, and while Derrick Henry may win the rushing title, Saquon Barkley is right there behind him. I mean, it is neck and neck. He is down a game right now because the Eagles had a bye week earlier in the season, and we won't see the Ravens have a bye week until mid-December, so those stats are going to be a little bit off until the Eagles play as many games as the Ravens do, but so far this rushing title is very much for grabs. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. The Ravens are more run-heavy offense, so Derrick Henry should still hang on for the rushing title, but I mean, Saquon Barkley's been right there, and for him to have a receiving touchdown on the day with another great rushing touchdown when it was 3rd and 17, and you're thinking just run the ball on a draw, maybe just get a few yards to make it easier on the kicker, and takes it upfield all the way to the house for a pivotal late touchdown to go up 16-0. And this is where, despite having a recent good run, Nick Sirianni starts to muck up the joint. And what I mean by that, on the extra point, they make it to go up 17-0, and there's an offsides penalty, and in that process, Nick decides to go for 2. First of all, you don't take points off the board, and especially in this circumstance where I understand if it's 14-0 or something, or 13-0, you can go up 15-0, sure. But 16-0 and 17-0 is the difference between 2 and 3 possessions. And you took off a point to go up 18-0 when 17-0 is still a 3-possession lead, and you miss the 2-point conversion. And ever since then, the Eagles were chasing points. Next touchdown by Jalen Hurts causes them to go for 2. The 2-point conversion is stuffed there. And there's a couple other sequences where they just leave points on the board and go for it, miss on a field goal attempt instead. And a 4th and inches, instead of going back to the tush push, they get a little scared and they call a pass play, which gets blown up immediately. And this brings momentum back to the Jaguars, who are already coming back into this game thanks to a touchdown and then a botched fumble return for a touchdown, which we'll get into a little bit later, but still made it a 6-point game. And Nick Sirianni has some questionable decisions that bring once a cooled hot seat back up to a warmer hot seat, because yes, they've won 4 consecutive games and they look pretty good. They're finding their flow. They're a run first team. They made some adjustments, but these in-game decisions make me very worried as an Eagles fan that he might cost them a game when he's being too aggressive and being too reckless with in-game management, doing the little things wrong. Now, thankfully, the Eagles superstars bailed him out between Saquon and Devontae Smith, who, after A.J. Brown missed the second half due to a knee injury, Devontae Smith picked it up with an amazing diving one-handed grab to be part of a highlight of Eagles plays made throughout the afternoon. Going back to the Saquon fumble, and I put that in quotation marks because the issue that I have is that on the sequence, you can see Saquon Barkley is running up the middle, and now 51 gets his hand on Saquon's heel, and now Saquon bumps into Landon Dickerson, and in the process he stumbles and then eventually falls. Now his elbow collides with the ground, dislodging the ball, and he loses possession, and Trayvon Walker scoops it up and returns it for a touchdown. The problem is with that, I think that the initial contact by 51 was enough to deem him down by contact, but you can see here in this very confusing explanation by the referee after the post-game presser that it just doesn't really make a ton of sense here. So another officiating relapse there where I thought it was very, very odd, but nonetheless the Eagles pull out a victory, and they're 6-2, and they go now to Dallas, which could be without their best two offensive weapons. Could be an opportunity to really get some momentum, because their biggest test in 10 days is going to be against the Washington Commanders on Thursday Night Football, and that's really going to determine if they are legit and if they can regain control in the NFC East.